100.9 FM rocks. WBZG. Joining me on the phone, Tom Drummond from Better Than Ezra. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great, man. How's it going?
Doing great. You guys are going to have all sorts of fun. You're going to be playing on the riverfront in Peoria August 6th with the Wallflowers. Sounds like a great show, and Better Than Ezra, if you're not familiar, been around for some time. Started in New Orleans in 1988, nearly, I can't believe this, 30 years ago. And that's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And what's funny, and to my memory, I don't recall that we've ever played Peoria, which is unusual because we've played just about everywhere on the planet.
And the old expression, plays in Peoria. Well, maybe you guys will get to finally find out if you're worth your salt, I guess.
I guess so.
You guys are playing a ton of dates this summer and through the fall, and again, welcoming you to Peoria at the event there. That's the Riverfront. It's the festival lawn you guys will be playing at for the Bud Light Concerts and Limelight Eventplex date there going on. Now, that's a Sunday show.
Get those sponsors in.
Yep, exactly. Doors start 6:30, shows at 7:30, all ages show. And again, with the Wallflowers. Now, it's got to be great to be out on the road and on such a fun tour. Did you realize or even imagine 30 years ago you'd be doing this for a living?
Well, I mean, you always hope that that's the case. I think playing live shows like this keeps us young to a degree. At least we think it helps keep us irrelevant to what the kids are listening to these days. Sort of have to up your game every time you go out on tour because things change. Just people's tastes change, the technology changes, everything changes from, say, 2 years ago we did a tour with Sugar Ray. But it's fun, It's we really enjoy what we do. We like to have a good time. There's a lot of interaction with the audience when we play. It's a high-energy show. We're not a shoegazer band. We've never been that. We're entertainers. We like to have fun. That's why we keep doing it.
When did you first realize you were a musician? It's one of my favorite questions to ask because everyone's always got a different answer of when it hit them that, boy, I'm not going to end up being a car salesman. I'm going to be a musician. When did you have that moment?
I was actually in a fairly successful band in high school. We had a band that was playing all the venues in town that every other band that came to town was playing. I mean, we weren't even old enough to drink. We weren't even supposed to be in the venues. And I think at that point, the whole band, we kind of figured out, wow, we're better than your average, 15 and 16-year-old musicians. And so I think then when I went to college and we had our first rehearsal as Better Than Ezra, I knew right away it was something special and it was going to be something worth pursuing, much to my parents' chagrin.
Well, hopefully they've gotten over it.
Yeah, biggest fans now for sure. But, it was, honestly, there's no guarantee in this business. There's still no guarantee in this business.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a leap of faith, and but, sometimes you got to go with your gut.
You guys were part of that big 90s alternative rock scene, and that era was kind of magical. There was that moment in time, about 91, 92, all of a sudden everything changed. Rock music went in a direction, and for just like one narrow window, there was like a revolution in rock music. How amazing was it to you to be a part of that sort of change in music?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's when people still played instruments.
Mm-hmm.
People now don't necessarily play instruments.
Yeah, there are a lot of
you have
drum machines,
DJs, and drum machines. Yeah, and just the technology is so good now, you don't really have to be very good, and you can get away with it. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I'm serious. But so from our era, you had to play. You had to be able to play. There was no fixing it in the mix or whatever. You had to be able to hone your craft and do what you do. And so hopefully there's some appreciation for that still. I know right now in the world of pop culture or whatever, it's all about the singer and not necessarily whether or not he can play any sort of instrument. That being said, there's some amazing singers that can play instruments, don't get me wrong. But generally, as far as bands go, you really had to know what you were doing.
Now, the era of the album, I've heard some people say this, some critics say the era of the album from start to finish is coming to an end, that it's turning into now digital releases and singles. Mm-hmm. Are you guys working on a new album?
We've sort of just started working on new material. I don't know that it will be an album. I mean, part of me thinks we should just release a single every 6 months. For a number of reasons. One, people's attention span just isn't what it used to be. Nobody's going to sit. I mean, does anybody sit down and listen to an entire album?
Especially when you get the music a la carte now. You don't have to buy the whole album.
Exactly. Or is there even an album worth listening to from start to finish? You know, I don't. So the thing is, by the time you finish spending the money and the time to make an entire album, your tastes have changed, your influences have already changed, and you want to do something else. So, you know, I don't know, we might do an EP, or maybe we'll just do singles. I think that's the smarter way to go these days, you know, with iTunes and Spotify and whatever. It's just, people generally listen to the one song. You know, if you have an amazing career, you might get 2 or 3, say an Adele or that type thing, you know. So I don't know, but we are working on some new stuff. So next year will probably be a new album or a new something.
Talking with Tom Drummond of Better Than Ezra. Who are you listening to right now?
Oh, what am I listening to? Mostly I listen to artists that are a reference to me from people that I'm working with. Like I produce when I'm not out on the road with Better Than Ezra, so they'll send me playlists, stuff. And the guy I'm working with right now is actually a Christian artist, so I'd probably name a whole bunch of people you've never heard of. But you know, it's cool because it's different than what I'm used to, and yet it's relevant. And so I try to stay up with whatever's hot at the moment, even if it's not necessarily my particular forte or my taste. But at least I can garner some education from it in a way,
and
so that I can then use it when I produce. Yeah.
And you guys are out on tour this summer, having fun, playing with the Wallflowers. Now, bands love to get some great covers in when they play live. What's your guys'
We do too many.
You do too many, you think? What's your favorite cover you're playing right now?
We play Feels Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. We do a really cool version.
Oh, wow.
And then our greatest hits, we have a version of James' song Laid. Which most people
great
think
song.
Is by us anyway.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then we'll mix it up. We're not scared to go there. We sort of, even if we don't play the whole song, we'll throw in a cover here or there.
That's awesome. Now, you guys do a lot of work outside of music. Of course, you're raising money for a couple of causes close to home in the New Orleans area. Can you tell me a bit about the Better Than Ezra Foundation?
Yeah, sort of got serious after Katrina. We had it before Katrina, but after Katrina, we just felt like there was some way that the band's celebrity here could help, you know, get New Orleans back on its feet, that's what we would do. And so initially we helped with Make It Right and the firemen. We donated to some fire stations. They needed parts. You know, they couldn't get parts after Katrina, that sort of thing. People were stealing copper fittings and that.
Oh, boy.
Bizarreness. Yeah. But since then, we felt our efforts are best served in the education realm. So we adopted an elementary school called Bethune Elementary here, and mostly very underprivileged kids attend the school. Some of them only eat and do their laundry at school, that type of thing. So we run an after-school program for them during that sort of critical time of the day where if you have nothing to do, you're getting into trouble. So between 3 and 5, when parents get off work or whatever, they're not roaming the streets. They're engaged in meaningful criteria, you know, at school. And I think it's, for what we can do, it's very valuable, and I think it actually is doing some good. And so that's kind of where our efforts are right now. We're looking to expand to some other schools, maybe in Baton Rouge. But, you know, we feel good about it. We feel like it's not throwing money into a well. Because sometimes these charities, you donate money, and you're like, well, did it do any good? You know, where's the money going? With ours, you can see it's going right here, and there's 120 kids, you know, attending after-school program every day.
And that's awesome that you have an impact going on. At least it's something that's a verifiable impact. You can see it, and you know you're at least it's a small slice of the world, but you're at least helping there, and that's very important. Talking with Tom Drummond of Better Than Ezra. Again, they're going to be in Peoria Sunday, August 6th with the Wallflowers, playing at the Riverfront on the festival lawn there, the Bud Light Concerts and Limelight Eventplex event going on. And last question here, weirdest tale from the road on this tour so far? Try to keep it halfway clean for the radio.
Oh, I don't know, man. Probably 2 crew guys sleeping in the same bunk on accident. I don't know.
Which is that can lead to some awkward moments.
Yeah, I think they just had too many bourbons and cokes at the end of the night. I don't know.
Well, I hope you don't rib the guys too much, or your sound check will never go very well.
Right. No, I think they were fully ashamed by the time they woke up in the morning.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today. Tom Drummond of Better Than Ezra. You guys have a good show. Look forward to seeing you with the Wallflowers on August 6th.
Thank you so much, man. We're looking forward to it.
It's 100.9 FM, Rocks, WBZG.